guys, Angie Bell with My Fairy Treasures. Okay, we are back to continue on. Okay, so I've gotten ahead a little bit to kind of show you where we're going. Remember we had left off in this little mini art journal that's in my Traveler's Notebook, right here. And I had pasted I had collaged all the collage bits on. Okay, next we needed to do some stenciling and some mark making. And so I did that on these two pages here. The little flap, the front of the flap, and then the last page here. I did the background. So this is what we're going for as far as with the stenciling and the mark making. And then I took it one step further on this page. I did the stenciling, the mark making, and I put my goddess figure here. And I think I discussed the goddess figure at the beginning. I have been drawing these little goddesses, okay? And I was using them in my artwork as mask. And that's what this right here, I used it as a mask. Also, I use them as stencils. So these are the stencils. And if you keep these parts, they're the inners, and these can be used as mask, right? Okay, so we'll be using this as stencil on this page over here, but not yet. So I used it as a mask. So I put this down, and I'm going to show you guys this step by step on one of these other pages, but I just want to show you what I did. And I took some paint with the makeup sponge, and I went around this whole thing. Then I bring it up. This is what you are left with. And the reason what made sense is there's this thing called Belleton Cottage. I put her link below, and she talks about the goddess. And then I looked at it. I'm like, I've been drawing those. So things are coming to me, and things are starting to make sense that are coming to me, and I don't know where they're coming from. And the goddess represents the mother of Earth, and she's very caring and nurturing and loving, the exact kind of mother we would all want, right? Someone who's loving, caring, nurturing, and so that's really something super important to me, and so that is why I think I've been drawing these, but I didn't know what the goddess exactly was until I watched this lady who has the Belleton Cottage channel. You guys go check her out. Oh, she is a, I want to say a gardener, but she's not just a gardener. She calls herself a gardener of Mother Earth, and you have to go check her out. It's just awesome. And I've learned a lot from her on doing my own gardening and everything. So, she takes it way beyond gardening. So it's really awesome. You have to check her out. So anyway, what I want to do really quickly with this, before we go on to doing the stenciling and the mark making, and I'm going to put this goddess here, done in this technique with the masking, I think here, and then we'll do a stenciling of one on this side, and so you'll see. But I wanted to show you, so when we get to it over here, you'll see what we still need to do. I like to outline with this white jelly pen. You can use a paint marker, a paint pen if you want. But what I like is I like the paint pens that have a real sharp point on them, like a pen. And it's hard to find paint pens that do that. Also, the reason I haven't done this yet, I wanted to do it with you guys. Also, wait till the next day before you use this is a white jelly pen. Whether you're using a white jelly pen or using a paint pen, wait till the next day. And it'll make sure that nothing happens to your paint pen. At least your white paint pen. Because you know what? I use my paint pens to make markings like right after I use my acrylic paints, and they've been fine. But if I was to use I even want to use the white one. All I know is when I use this white Jelly Roll pen, which I get at Hobby Lobby at the cash register, I wait till the next day to use this. These paint pens here, these artisan ones, I've been able to use these artisan paint pens right after I use the acrylic paint. I don't have to wait 24 hours. So, anyway. But this white Jelly Roll pen, I would wait at least till the next day. So does that look so cool now that I've outlined it? And there's this thing called messy writing I like to do. And you can do a poem, a song, you can just say certain words. So, and I'd like to do it in this messy writing. Okay. And it looks really cool. And nobody knows what you're writing. Okay, you guys get the point? So that's what I'm going to do there, and then I'm going to carry this writing onto over here too. Maybe I'll just do it right now. I'm just saying things that are just coming to me. It doesn't really matter what you say. There we go. So I think that just looks cool, having that writing like that. Doesn't that look cool? And maybe you don't think that's cool. Maybe you're like, no, I don't like that messy writing. But I love it. And I'm trying to think. You guys know I can never remember anyone's name. But there's a girl who I got this from. Name. Her name is Name. And you don't spell it N-A-M-E. She has a different way you spell it. But her link is below too. You guys check her out. She's a fabulous mixed media artist also. She does this messy writing. And I just thought it looked really cool. So I love it. I love how this page here turned out. The only thing else I need to do on here is take my black Stabilo and go around all the edges, which we'll do. Okay, so let's get started on using stencils and mark making. Oh, this page here is going to be a pocket page. Let me make sure you guys are seeing everything. It's going to be a pocket page so that we can put some really cool tags in here. We're going to do some art cards, some postcards that we've made, and some cool tags that I've done. So, like I said, I want this to be an art journal / junk journal. And where the junk journal comes in is so we can add our junk, right, in the pockets. Also, we can take and add our junk with really cool paper clips that I've decorated and attach them onto different pages, okay, which we'll probably do too, but not yet. And we'll attach that in a little bit, and I'll talk to you about that. So let's get to this here. Let's get to the stenciling. Okay. We're going to use these two stencils. So I'm going to use this stencil here. I love this stencil. It's little plus signs or little crosses, and I think they're little crosses. Aren't they cute? Okay, what color do I want to use for my crosses? I'm going to use dark brown, this really dark brown. I'm just going to use some Apple Barrel Burnt Umber acrylic paint. Oh, somebody asked me where I got my glass mat. Is this thing fabulous, you guys? I am upset. I don't know why I didn't get one sooner. I got this from HSN. It was only $20. I was able to buy it on Easy Pay, which was pretty cool. So, 5 or 6 Easy Pays of like $2 or $3 a month or something. So, that's what I did. And it's $20 plus shipping, like $5. But I only pay like $2 or $3 a month for it on Easy Pay. All right. So I like to use a makeup sponge with my stencils when I'm using the paint. And let's go for it. But I'm loving this glass mat because I can put the paint right here on the glass mat and then it wipes off. So easy. It's awesome. I'm not putting very much paint on my sponge so that we don't get like big blocks of these crosses. They kind of look like they're in the background. I mean, once in a while I might get heavy-handed with them, but so I just like to take it and just put them on in little areas like this. There we go. And we'll do a few right here. Okay. So I'm loving those crosses. And I'm not, this right here that we're going to use for the pocket is a piece of cardstock that I jelly printed. Isn't it gorgeous? And I love the way the jelly print turned out. So I just cut it to size, tore the top so it looks like it just torn off, because I love like a torn edge. And that's what's going to go right here for the pocket. And I'm not going to decorate this. I might put I might stencil something in black on top of here. We'll see. But I like the way that looks, so we're leaving it. Okay, so we're done with this stencil for now. And now we're going to use this stencil, which I love. And we'll use a little, this is Apple Barrel again. It's turquoise. And I'm just using the colors that are already in the background. I learned that from Diane Reevely, to stick with the colors that like get your 3 or 4 or 5 colors, really 3 or 4 colors that you want, and stick with those. And then you'll have, everything will be very cohesive. It will make sense. Of course, you could do something here or there to have a little pop of color or something different. But for the most part, then it keeps things cohesive and making sense. Also, another thing to keep cohesive and make sense, do your design like this in maybe 3 different places. And maybe 4. But at least 3 different places. These are little rules I've learned that I really like, that I follow. So, but this is art, so you follow whatever ideas or rules that you want to create for yourself. I almost hate saying the word rules, but they're little things I like to follow. And it makes my art turn out the way I want my art to turn out. So, I mean, I know it's mixed media, but you do have to have some constraints. So, okay. Okay, and then I want to use a little bit of white. What stencil did I use on this? Oh, I know something that I didn't do that I wanted to do. Okay, guys, we're going to take a step back. We just did this step ahead of time, but we'll still do this other step that I wanted to do. Okay. I wanted to do some ghosting with the acrylic paints. Where did I put those at? That's why I didn't realize it, because I put away the ghosting stencils that I wanted to use. So just a second, guys. Just a second. That's why. Usually I have all my steps in front of me so I don't forget what I want to do. And I put them away. Okay. So let's do some ghosting with acrylic paints with these 2 stencils. So this is what I would have done first, this ghosting techniques with acrylics, and then I would have done the smaller stencils, but we're doing it a little bit opposite. Okay, so it's going to look crazy. I'm going to take this teal color and go over here. And you guys look like, girl, you are just covering up everything. But I'm not. I'm not. I promise. Okay. And then we need a baby wipe. Either a baby wipe or a wet paper towel. Either one will work. So I just put the paint down, the acrylic paint. Put a stencil over it. Take your wet baby wipe or a wet paper towel. And this is how you ghost it. You wipe out inside of the stencil. Everything inside the stencil. Get that all wiped out. And then look what's left. Look how cool that looks. Isn't that cool? So it leaves a cool little design. You're not covering up as much as you thought you were. You're all good. And there we go. And it just adds another little something to your background. Do I want to do that over here? No, I don't. I do want to do, I think I want to do it in, do I want to do it in some brown or no? I'm just trying to think what I want to do over here. Okay. Let's do, right here, let's do some brown. get the rest of this brown here. And we will. And we'll put this stencil over it, which is a, what do you call this stencil? Honeycomb stencil. At least that's what I call it. This baby wipe's a little bit too wet. There we go. Okay, that didn't leave very much design there. All right. Maybe there's already too much brown there. You know what? Let's use a little bit of, I know what we're going to do. Let's use this rust color because that's also in our background. Let's dry that. We're going to use this color, this rust color right here. That's going to show up good. I think there was already too much brown right there. All right. A second, let me squeeze this baby wipe out a little bit. There we go. And let's put over this honeycomb stencil again. We're going to get some cool stuff from this. Okay. I'm going to get a cool design from this. And I'm just using a paper towel over this a little bit because, like I said, my baby wipe's a little on the wet side. Okay. Oh, cool. All right, so let me show you up close. Look at that cool honeycomb. Isn't that neat? Love it. So all we're doing is just building up and building up and building up the background. Okay. What I'm doing here is just adding a little bit of that color just to blend it out a little bit. Okay, so we won't do any more on that side. We'll go over here and play with this side. And so I want to use a little bit of this color over here. Where do I want to use it? Right here. And let's do this. Let's use this stencil with a little bit of, just partial of that design there. This time I'm going to use a paper towel and just wet a paper towel because, like I said, my baby wipes are pretty soaking wet. You want it wet, but not like, not soaking wet. All right, let's see what that looks like. Cool. We got a little bit smeary at the top here. Cool. It just left a little bit of a design there, which I like. I don't like it as much as I liked the blue that was there, but it adds to it, so I'm good. And I think that's it there with that. I think I'm not going to add any more of the, ghosting, because I'm liking the way the rest of this side is looking. So let me take this away for 1 second. And we have a little bit of paint on our thing here. So let's just use up the rest of it in my book here. So whatever's on the sponge, get that off of there. And whatever's left on here, get it off of here. And then look at this. We're ready for, these pages are all ready to be used. This is a Jane Davenport mixed media little booklet. See all the stuff I've put in here already? Look at that's a little ghost image. I'll show you how I did that. This is ghosting right here with acrylic paint. Look how cool that ghosting turned out. That's ghosting with acrylic. That's ghosting with acrylic. Isn't that cool? Again, this is ghosting with using the back of a used masking stencil. Ghosting with acrylic. So anyway, we got to work in this book sometime. I've shown you guys that book a lot of times. We need to work in it. Okay. All right, you guys, just let you know if I forget, in like about 10 minutes, this video will switch over to a second video. So, I don't know if you're seeing this, probably. Look how easy this cleans up. I haven't even added water on here. I'm just wiping it off with a dry paper towel, and it just comes clean. This thing is like magic. I heard people talking about this glass mat, and I'm like, yeah, I should have bought this glass mat a long time ago. And I did finally sew my book together. So my book's all sewn together. I put 3 holes in it and then used some, what did I use? Embroidery floss. This right here, and sewed it together. Okay, we need to dry this. So let's do that next. Oh, sorry. Okay, we're going to do one more layering with stencils. And this time, let me just put these away. We're going to use ink pads. I'm going to use this ink cocoa pad and then this seaside color, which is like a turquoisey color. Okay, so let me get... And I'm going to use makeup sponges when I do it. And I'm going to use this stencil again here. And using this dark brown, it's just going to be... This stuff, it's just going to be in the background. I mean, really, really in the background. All this is background. But it really is in the background when I'm using this brown. It's not going to majorly show up. It just shows up here and there. And that's what I like, is I just like lots of different layers. Little layers. But doing it with this, even though I'm doing it on top of these acrylics, it looks like it's way underneath all this. Like it's just popping up way underneath it. But I'm doing it on top, which I think is cool. I'm going to put some of this brown here down here at the bottom because I just need some coloring down here. Okay. And then let's do a little bit of this right here. That looks cool. Very cool. And then let's do, do I want any of that? I feel like I want a little bit of this blue. So let me use this sponge. Let's use this same stencil. I like this stencil because I just use bits and pieces of it and it looks different every time I use it because I just use bits and pieces of it. I'm putting it wherever I feel like I need a little extra that turquoise color. Fabulous. I feel like I need some turquoise right there. There we go. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, that looks good. It just adds this is another extra little step of layering that you can do. I could have used several more stencils. I could have used several more colors, but that's what I felt that little bit needed to happen. And let's go down to some white, a little bit of white. And what stencil do I want to use the white? Just a second, you guys. Okay, sorry about that. I rejected the phone call. We're going to use just a little bit of white. We're going to use the same stencil again and add just a little bit of white to that stencil. And this is another challenge I'm giving myself, you might want to give yourself, is a lot of times I pull out 20 million things to use. An obscene amount, way more than I could ever use on one project. And it can become stressful when you have so much stuff out to use. And it makes you less creative. It makes you more creative when you have less stuff to use. It also makes you less stressed. And that's my major issue. Sometimes I stress myself out because I have too much to choose from. So maybe sometimes just pull out a few things. Don't pull out the whole kitchen sink. I mean, that may be a goal that you need, or maybe that's a goal you don't need. Maybe you don't pull out the kitchen sink like I do. Maybe you're like, I don't do that. Well, okay. Then don't do it. But if you can see all the stuff I pull out, it's ridiculous. So you can see, I've used this stencil how many times now? And it looks really cool and really different because I can use just different bits and pieces of it. And also, this is another good technique if you're like, I don't have that many stencils. Well, just use bits and pieces of, I could use this one stencil for everything and just use bits and pieces of it and it'll look completely different. To do mixed media, you don't have to have a lot of stuff and you don't have to have a lot of money at all. Not at all. It's more about being creative. Not how many things you bought. And I know you guys are like, yeah, coming from you who shops all the time. I know, you guys, because I am a little addicted. But I'm just saying that you don't have to have so many things. You just have to have creativity to have really cool art. Okay, so now we just did all of that. So look how many steps we just did and even furthered the layers. So just a second, let me pull up my book again. I'm going to use up the rest of this white paint in my book here. There. And where else do I want to throw this white? I'll throw this white right here. There we go. I love having, it's a small book, so I love, it's easy to keep right beside me. And I throw all my paint in there. Pretty soon I'm going to have so many pages in there that already have a start for a background. I mean, a lot of people do that, keep a little book next to them, but I first learned about that from Diane Reevely, the creator of the Dilutions products. And she always had a book next to her that she was always starting, and her new book with just leftover paints. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Okay. Or she had tags sitting beside her so she could, you know, throw the excess onto tags. Okay, so here we are here. Let's dry this, and then next we're going to make some marks. Now, I said with like your paint pens or whatever to wait overnight, which if I used a white Jelly Roll pen, I would wait overnight. But when I use these pens, these Artisan paint pens, they go right over acrylic paint that's not dried for 24 hours and they don't get clogged up. So I don't know what to say about that, but I'm using them right now. Okay, so I'm going to make some mark making. I'm going to use this gold, this dark brown, and this black color. I would not do that with my alcohol markers over this, though. I can tell you that. Because I've done that and ruined them. Or even any markers, I've ruined my markers. But the paint pens seem to be fine. But there's some paint pens that will get ruined, too. I don't know. Anyway, I'm letting you know with those, I'm doing okay. Okay, I've made these, I made up a little, like a little folded little thing here of marks. So I know that sounds crazy, but look at, these are the marks that I have. I've looked at other people's marks. I've thought of different marks to make. If you want to snapshot this, you can. And make up a little page of marks for yourself. Just to remind you, because when you sit down and you're like, oh, I want to do some mark making, you forget about all the different types of marks. Here's some more marks for mark making. Okay? So, I'm going to start with my gold pen and start making some marks. And you know what? This is one I always forget about. I love this right here of just going like this and doing like an H, or doing it and making a hashtag. So I'm going to make hashtags. And you know what? Let me see if I can come in a little closer so you guys can see. In gold, you're not going to see it a whole lot, which is fine. Okay, let me see how close we can come in here so you guys can see. Just a second. And I'm sure you guys, if it hasn't switched, it's about to switch, you guys. We're at 32 minutes. So just go on to the next video, okay? Just a second. Just trying to get as close as I can get. Okay. So I'm just making little number patches, like the number sign with gold. And this is just making marks. And I didn't used to make marks in my artwork, but I was watching a girl named Name, who I told you guys, her link is below, and I love it. She goes mark crazy. And making marks is really doodling, and I love to doodle. Oh my God. And I thought, why am I not doing that? I love making marks. I love doodling. So why am I not doing that?